Where can I park my broom? Is there anywhere? I'll just put it over here. Parking for brooms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so nice to be here. Okay. Happy Halloween. So, wow, looking at you all, these costumes are fabulous. Thank you. So, magic is everywhere, isn't it? Or is it? We're all fascinated by magic. You know, we have Disney's Magic Kingdom. We have a team called the Orlando Magic. There's Magic Johnson, Magic Erasers, Magic Eye Puzzles, the Magic Castle, Harry Potter, Magic Beans, and Magic Markers, and so much else. You know, just if we add the word magic onto something, it just makes the whole thing feel a little special, right? And, ooh, magic. Let me see what this is about. And there is plenty of everyday magic around us. Well, there's the magic of nature. You know, you look at a magical sunrise or sunset, or there's magic in a rainbow, or a lightning storm, or the Grand Canyon. Those are magical things and places. They inspire awe and wonder, but I'm not going to talk about that. And I'm not talking about tricks. Now, I forwarded some of my luggage here, so that arrived before me. I need to open up my cauldron. Here we go. It's not about magic tricks like scarves that can change color, is it? So we have this scarf. We don't like the red and green. Maybe we can make it into something else. And if we decide we don't like that, it doesn't really match my costume very well, I can try it again. Ready, and Abracadabra, let me see, starting to pull, and there we are. This is a magic trick, and I'm not talking about magic tricks. Besides which, you know pretty much how they're done, or you can figure them out. And that's kind of lame magic. It's magic that's easily explainable. And there's so much else in the world that's not. Real magic astounds us when we don't know how it's done. It can't be explained at first glance, or second glance, or third glance, or maybe never. It's that moment of, wow, what is this? What is this about? You know, sadly, once you know how something mystifying is done, it loses its element of wonder. And you will never be mystified by it again, unless it keeps on mystifying us. And that's kind of where I'm going today, the constant mystification. Now, when I was first thinking about this talk, I recalled that a friend of mine was asking me about some product, and I showed her on the internet where to find something that we were talking about. I'll tell you about that later on, exactly what it is. But she looked at it, and she said, it's absolute magic. And I said, wow, everyday stuff, absolute magic. Of course, why not? It's something that's commonplace today. Yet, you know, back when it was starting, people had this about it. And magic has fascinated humankind since the beginning of time. Now, what did the first humans think about shooting stars, or eclipses, or fire, the ultimate magic? So what is some of this magic that's around us? You're familiar with all of them, but you probably never stop to think of them as being magic. Some are spectacular, and some are just merely remarkable. I enjoy thinking about them as if they were magic, and I invite you to come along for the ride and do likewise. So I need a couple of props to help me here. First of all, I have my luggage that was forwarded, as I said. So here we go. We need a crystal ball, don't we? We can't cope without a crystal ball. So, let me put out my crystal ball. See if I can turn it on with my magic wand. And we go Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. I don't know. Try it again. Ready, set, go. Oh, honestly, these crystal balls are so temperamental. Push this in, keep that pushed in. Don't do that, don't do this. All right, let's try it again. Bibbidi-Bobbidi-Boo. Bibbidi-Bobbidi-Boo. Bibbidi-Bobbidi, nothing. We'll wait and see. It was working beforehand, honestly. I'm going to turn this back in, take it back in for a refund. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, well, I hope that doesn't bode well for the rest of this talk. All right, so we have the magic crystal ball. It's beautiful and it works. It doesn't want to work today. All right. And we have my wand. And I think we need one more item. Let me see. I think, you know, we have nice flowers down there, but I think this tabletop needs a flower too. So where is the flower? How am I going to get this flower out? Ah, my magic wand. The magic wand. Let's see if it can create a flower for us. Ready? Flower, flower, grow. Grow. Some of it works. All right. And then we have my magic cauldron, you know. And this, some of you thought this had all kinds of magic in it. But, you know, what's magic? We'll find out. The first is commonplace. It's a cauldron? No, it's a crock pot. A crock pot. Tell me this is not magic. This is quiet magic. And you put food and liquid into the cauldron, you turn it on, and 4 to 6 hours later, you have a fully cooked, scrumptious meal. Presto. And if you use one of these crock pot liners, you don't have to clean anything up. You just empty the liner, pull the liner out, and throw it away. No cleanup. That's real magic. And I know that your eaters of this scrumptious meal are going to think that your meal has a taste of magic in it too. So, shazam, magic. All right, now there are some things in this cauldron that we need to take a look at. One is, the first thing is credit cards. There's really been an evolution here. I mean, remember the days of paying cash or check for everything? And then along came credit cards. You slid them through the device and they imprinted on a carbon like this. Remember these carbons? They would slide them through and this imprint would come on. And that worked really well until when they started throwing the carbons into the waste cans, criminals came along and stole the carbons and stole the numbers. So they had to create something else. And the next thing was magnetic strip. This magnetic strip supposedly safeguarded all that. And isn't it amazing how these cards magically drained your savings account in no time flat? Then they came up with a PIN. What's a PIN? A PIN is your own secret magic number that opens your account. Open sesame. Then came security codes on the back of the cards. And then the people, the security people still weren't happy, so they invented cards with embedded chips. This one doesn't have a chip, it's an old card. Embedded chips. Hey, so what it did, it introduced us to a way of inserting a card in a different way. And this was supposedly more safe to send, more secure. But that still wasn't enough for the banks. They wanted something even more secure, so they came up with what? Contactless payment. With a wave of your hand, you magically send the information over the airwaves to charge you, and you are done. This qualifies as magic, I'm convinced. I don't know how it works. Do you? Just wave the card, and I'm charged instantaneously for the purchase. Alakazam. All right, how many of you know, a few of these things, that this cauldron is just coming up with all kinds of fun stuff. How many of you know what this is? The symbol for, who said that? Wi-Fi, yes. Hocus pocus, Wi-Fi. Wireless fidelity. This, you know, without Wi-Fi, we have no credit card. We can't use our credit cards. We can't use our phones. We can't use computers, tablets, anything without Wi-Fi. It actually allows a lot of today's magic to exist. It's real magic. It's invisible. How could it not be real magic? It's invisible. Remember the radio? You know, how could you turn the radio on with just a dial and you get sounds, you get music, you get words? How does that work? You know, how did the engineers come up with this? How did they develop it? Just think about it. The radio is wireless and it sends speech and music over what? Over invisibility. That's magic. How did the engineers come up with this? I have no idea. But it's magic for sure. You know, last week, my Wi-Fi went out for 18 hours. No internet, no phone, no TV, no computer. My entire life gone, just looking at an empty shell. What can I do now that's not going to take Wi-Fi? So I thought, well, I'll read a book. So I didn't have any real books because I gave up real books when I moved to Michigan, leaving all that behind, and put everything into e-books on my Kindle. All right, so I thought, I'll read the book I'm almost finished with. So turned the Kindle on, and yes, there was the book. And I finished the book in about an hour and needed something else. So I was about to open another book to download a book, and guess what? To my horror, you can't download any extra reading that isn't already on your Kindle because there is no Wi-Fi. No internet, no books. So I read samples that I had on my Kindle of books that I might want to read. And when I went to bed early, enough of that. Okay, Wi-Fi is everywhere and it's greatly needed. All right, then we have, the next thing is computers, of course, and the digital revolution, of course. Now, the first transistor was created in 1947, and that's considered the start of the digital era. Remember transistor radios? And there were even kits you could buy from Radio Shack to make them yourself. My brother did one of those. He loved it. Computers are magic machines, no doubt about it. How did the original developers dilute everything to ones and zeros magically into words? You know, a binary system is only ones and zeros. And the first computer programmers, how did they decide that ones and zeros would turn into words? And did you know that when they programmed those computers, there was no keyboard? There were only some switches they turned on and off. Don't ask me how. And the early IBM computers used computer punch cards. Remember those? Did you see the punch cards? Yeah, the Stone Age. And this card held data and programs. This holds just like one little piece of data, not a whole program. But these cards were everywhere. And, you know, ticker tape parades were used with the punches out of these things. So that's computers. Then we have hard drives within the computer. This is a hard drive from a defunct computer 8 years old. This little thing holds my entire life, really. It's all on there. These computers, this used to be metal discs, you know, they're large discs, and now they switched it over to put silicon chips on these computers. And did you know something? You can't destroy this. I have tried. I took a sledgehammer to it several times, not a dent. Nothing. I'm thinking I'm going to have to try and burn it to get rid of everything on it. You know, I don't know if I throw it away, is somebody going to be able to recover it? Pull all my data off, even 8 years old? I don't know. It can't be destroyed. That's pretty cool. Then came chips. Smaller and smaller. Can you all see this tiny, tiny chip? You all know what this is because you put them into your telephone, right? These are made from quartz sand. Did you know that? And quartz, the mineral quartz, is the realm of magic. It's the realm, its quartz are in these transistor radios. Quartz ran early wristwatches. Quartz now runs our life on a silicon chip. So the world on a single chip, that's magic for sure, isn't it? And you know, because of these things, you can have the world at your fingertips. You can find anything on the all-knowing internet with just a few mouse clicks. Alakazam, computers. Oh, then, I'm sure you all know what this is. Yes? Yes? No? Yes? Anybody? GPS. Maps in your car. GPS, this was the original device before you could use Google Maps for everything. But this was an amazing, amazing item. You know, when I moved to Washington, D.C., I was there for 2.5 years, completely lost. I never arrived anywhere I needed to be. And all that time, it's no exaggeration, 2.5 years. I wish this had been around because the streets in Washington are really convoluted. So how on earth does it work? How does it know where we are? What speed we're going? How many miles yet to go? What time we're going to arrive? I didn't know, so I thought, well, if I'm going to talk about it, I better find out. So again, I asked the internet how it worked, and the answer was staggering. I need to tell you very carefully, just stay with me now. GPS uses 31 satellites, plus ground stations and receivers, which is your unit. 4 satellites send signals to your GPS to give you information. And all these signals, all these satellites carry atomic clocks. It's crucial for them to work. Atomic clocks are crucial because GPS is essentially based on time. Did you ever think of it that way? Now, here's where it gets complicated, but don't worry about it. By using time, all the components know how far away they are from each other. So there are 4 satellites, and using time, they know where they're located. And your receiver uses the difference between the broadcast time and the reception time to compute the distance from the receiver back to the satellite. With information about the ranges to 3 satellites and the location of the satellite when the signal was sent, time again, right? The receiver computes its latitude, longitude, altitude, and time. Once the receiver calculates its distance from 4 or more satellites, it knows exactly where you are. Ta-da! GPS in a nutshell, right? How did they figure this out? I say, if GPS isn't sorcery, I don't know what is. Abracadabra. Now we get on to some simpler things. Memory foam. This is what my friend saw in that video. You know, memory foam comes, when it comes, like you buy a memory foam mattress, it comes flat or rolled up into something, and you open it up and it's still flat until you cut open the plastic and let air inflate the memory foam mattress. And it becomes 5 to 10 times larger than what it was there. This is what my friend saw on the internet when she declared it was magic. And she had never heard of it and never seen it. So if you have never seen this and you see it, of course you're going to think it's magic. And it is absolute magic. Bibbidi-Bobbidi-Boo. Okay, next is cameras. Now, not just ordinary cameras, Not digital, not ordinary, but Polaroid. I never owned one, and I always thought it would be so cool to have it. So imagine, you take a picture, and out pops this image, yes? And you wait around for it. It's a black image, and you wait around for it. You wait, and suddenly the image appears. And you have a photo in front of you. You don't have to go to the drugstore. You don't have to wait a week for it to develop. You have instant gratification. Hocus pocus. Then we get to CGI. Do you know what CGI is? You probably know about it. It's computer-generated imagery. A whole industry has formed around CGI. The firm Industrial Light and Magic created the special effects for Star Wars. All those special effects are computer-generated images. That's not new for you, right? They have changed everything we see on screen. Nothing is real anymore. There's actually no more, or almost no more on-location filming because it's easier to do all these complicated sets on the computer. It's all computer-generated. I said I always wanted to work at Industrial Light and Magic, but that never happened, so Bibbidi-Bobbidi-Boo. And you all know about the next item for sure. No surprise here, but you really still have to think about all that this thing does. It's your phone. It's a computer. It's a TV. It's a movie screen. It's a way to correspond. It's a music player, GPS, a games console, internet browser, clock, no more wristwatches, a weather station, a recorder, a newspaper, a flashlight, an ebook reader, and so much more. Enough said. Alakazam. Then, something right here in this room. I give you this screen. Zoom. Zoom is new magic. We never heard of it before. Well, not many of us heard of it before, say, even 3 years ago, before the pandemic let this grow to what it has become. All you people on Zoom, you're magic. How would we have survived these past months without this capability? It's amazing. Just think about it. Hocus pocus. Okay, and now we're on to big magic. Rockets. Why do you laugh? Every time I see a rocket launch, I get goosebumps. They are improbable, if not impossible. I mean, somebody constructs this mega giant tube, bigger than you can comprehend, and stands it on its end, and it adds rockets on the bottom, rocket engines, like a firework to send it into the air. Now, where did they get such power? And what the heck is rocket fuel anyway? Who figured it all out? Think about it, this incredible, incredible industry. You know, SpaceX has had spectacular failed attempts as it tries to get these things launched. And it now can land this booster rocket back on Earth safely, on land, or even, more amazingly, on a floating platform at sea. And it does not fall into the water. There is a magician behind this, and he keeps getting better and better. Abracadabra. All right, now the next thing might shock you just a little bit. Something I have to, another toy. Let's see if this one works. You know what this is, yes? Who knows what it is? A drone. You know, the drone shows of today are the fireworks of old. It's magic in the sky. You know, the drones appear, they're actually now called unmanned aerial vehicles. All right, and there's an unbelievable feat of engineering involved to create 3D choreography in the skies. So this little thing should fly. I'm going to turn it on and see what it does. Now, don't be afraid. It might come towards you, but don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt. It's very light. I'm going to try to control it, but after this, who knows? So there's a couple of tricks that I've really played with this a lot over the past few days. Let me see what we can do here. Use the force. I'm so relieved. It's very persnickety. All right. So these drone shows, let's talk about them. These drones, of course, are connected to Wi-Fi. Yes, of course. Some magician, and really advanced magician, has to program each and every second of each and every drone. Now, we're not talking about one little drone. The record now is about 3,600 drones all at the same time. So to begin, they're all placed in specific areas on the ground in a big field, and then they're programmed to take off. If you saw the Tokyo Olympics, you saw drone shows, choreographed drone shows in the air. If you want to be totally amazed, Google drone shows. You will not believe what you see with your eyes. Every time I look at a video, I am mesmerized and, yes, mystified. So that's what my cauldron has for you today. Despite the crystal ball. Magic is about making possible today what science will make a reality tomorrow. Take a good look, because magic is all around us, and focus on it before it becomes everyday, and be amazed now. So with that, abracadabra, hocus pocus, alakazam, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo.